And I'm like, if it's a shapeshifter, I gotta see what the original form is. And I was not disappointed by that original form.
This is so nasty. I'm gonna throw up in my mouth.
Like, it's not gay if it's with yourself, right? Hello and welcome to the Lunchbox. We are going to be talking about episode 4 of The Boys. Today I'm joined by the boys, Lou and Alex. So yeah, we're just going to talk about the episode, kind of what we thought, and that's it. So I'll start off by saying this is a 68-minute episode. It was long.
Oh wow!
Anyone else feel that?
No,
I didn't feel it.
flew. No.
Okay.
It was
I'm on my island over here.
There was
a lot to it.
Yeah. The action was lacking for sure, but there was so much in the episode that was like, you were just stuck watching it.
Yeah, it was a real character-driven episode, so I guess that's why I enjoyed it so much. There's a lot of moving pieces, and everybody got their time to shine, and their stories progressed in major ways. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the mini adventures too that they took, like how Butcher and then the Becca. Butcher and Becca, and then the road trip. Yeah. Even
like Frenchie had his moment, which I thought was interesting.
Oh,
I felt like they did a little bit for every single character. Yeah.
He made his move.
I'm so annoyed about that. I just think that's silly. But
he shot.
He shot his shot, and the girl's brother had just died. So don't let that be a lesson. Maybe that's not the time to shoot your shot. Just
well, maybe not coked out of your mind. Maybe just
that too.
Do it with a clear head.
Yeah. So, in no particular order, we can kind of discuss like the big things that happened this episode.
Yep.
So to kick it off, I feel like I want to talk about the Billy and Becca situation. Everything happened simultaneously, so like this isn't necessarily going to be an order, I guess, of the episode, definitely. But we can kind of talk about each chunk. So Butcher went back and found his wife. He was given the information and he showed up, and yeah, what did you guys think about that? The way that all played out?
I think that was it was great. Well, for Butcher, only to kind of really lose Becca again, because Becca knew that since Butcher really hates soups, that he was never going to really see Ryan as his son. Plus, he also knows that, for now at least, that it's Homelander's child. So it's sort of a bittersweet reunion, even though they made some nice loving in the car. But it's goodbye sex almost. But it's probably not the last of this thing, but it makes the episode deeper, in my opinion, that they're gonna have to how do they progress after this.
Yeah, it was funny that Ryan wasn't in the episode, despite being talked about so often by Butcher and Becca. However, it did go probably exactly how I sort of expected it to, because like there's no way Butcher is in any like functional human being mode right now. He has a lot of stuff to get over. I guess a lot of stuff to do, a lot of people to kill maybe. There's a lot of rage in that boy, and at least Becca sees that. Becca's always seen that, and she might have changed. She might not be the one for him at this point, so especially her being a mother and all.
Yeah.
But
sorry,
no, it's okay. I'm done.
I was gonna say I loved the way they handled that kind of rage and the way she spoke about it. I thought it kind of gave us more insight into his character, that like you had this anger and you had this rage before all of this happened. Like she already felt like she was trying to like save him when they first got together. So it's like, from our perspective, the viewer, we think, oh, he was a normal dude. And then all of this tragedy happened. His wife died and or got taken from him, all of this horrible stuff. And then he got on this kind of war path. And from her perspective, he's always been on this war path. And I think that's really interesting, because I'm curious if we're going to get more insight into like the why behind that, or where that comes from, or if it's just like his personality, that he is single-minded and angry. and that he just needs a thing to focus that anger towards. So I'm curious, like, if he's just gonna like roll back to the boys and be like, "Sup, I'm back. Let's fight the fight because I need a fight." I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens from here for him in particular.
Yeah, to go back to that a little bit, I thought it was pretty cool because the moment you thought that Becca and Butcher were gonna go back together, you think that all of his efforts is to go back to his wife, right? And now that he's back to his wife, does that mean he's gonna calm down and just be happy with that situation? They just disappear. But I'm glad that, you know, Becca revealed that Butcher's always been just kind of go. I want something to punch, like always been on the warpath, like you said. So yeah, that was a really great scene.
Get it together, Butcher. Get it together.
Yep. I'm a little bit surprised he wasn't like prepared for the conversation about Ryan, because it's very clear that this whole time she's been alone with this child. You know her, so you know she's going to raise this child. She's not going to not care about it. And then to be like, oh, we'll just leave him, or he can come, it's fine. But really, like, be so not committed to that. I thought that was like poor planning on Butcher's part, because if he knew her and if he was like remotely prepared, he would have been like, here's my plan for the kid. It's going to be great. We're going to do this together as a family. And like, he would have tried a little bit harder, but he was very quick to be like, yeah, he's a f***ing soup and I don't want him. Like, he went there so quickly. So
as a man with a plan, he had no plan for Ryan.
So true.
I mean, he is very driven, and he's driven towards bringing back his life status quo, even though, like, just ignoring the fact that, like, there is no status quo, that, like, it's all an upheaval. So I think the next episode we'll see him reset his sort of drive and just know that Vought needs to be, you know, taken care of once and for all.
Mm-hmm.
Like refocus, kind of.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the other really important thing, speaking of just visiting and traveling, was the road trip. So that was Huey, Starlight, and went on a road trip to find this woman who was in some way connected to Liberty, who's like an older soup. I thought I thought it was good. Honestly, I really, really liked it. I think it really showed the actual chemistry between Huey and Starlight in a way that I'd wanted to see for a little while, because it was kind of annoying to see them texting back and forth and like that kind of like, I don't know, millennial relationship. I don't know how else to describe it. But it was really cute actually to see them in person and the way that they interacted and just like that awkwardness of them, because they are so awkward. And I think I at least forget that she's so sheltered, because her whole life was just with her mom. She was telling a story about not being able to eat donuts and like this and that. So like, of course, weird Huey would be able to connect with her because she is also so sheltered and so awkward, despite being like this famous celebrity. I thought it kind of played with that really well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I like the just the road trip part was a little break from like the tenseness of the entire kind of episode, even though it got really tense like near the end of the road trip. But I like the part where they were singing along and MM was just like, come on, I'm not your chaperone. I'm not. Yeah. It's cool because I think for me, MM is kind of not their leader, but he is kind of the leader they need right now to just keep everybody together. And he did a good job. He did actually chaperone them. What are you talking about? He was chaperoning them. Like, he knew that we left his room to go, you know, do stuff. And yeah.
You know, it really reminded me for all the Office fans out there of the episode where Michael Scott and Holly take a road trip and Daryl is driving and Daryl is just going out of his mind.
When Holly was moving.
That's right. Holly was moving. it really, there's a lot of parallels there. But I really enjoyed it. Change of pace, a lot of levity that the episode needed. It was great to see Huey and Starlight, sort of rekindle their romance, although
And did
ends
they?
kind of sadly. Yeah,
Short-lived.
they sure did.
They did, and then they didn't.
Yep.
Because it was very short-lived.
And the other great thing we got was a look into Mother Milk's past and like what motivates him. I think we really needed that to flesh him out a bit more, because up until now he's just like, oh, he's just like, he cares about his family and that's it. But no, there's more to him than just that.
Yeah. And we kind of get to see where the family, like why family is the most important thing to him because of the loss of his father. And then that being kind of the inciting incident for why he's involved in the boys and why everything's happening. And then, I mean, they get to the woman's house. I don't know. I don't remember her name. I don't know if you guys do.
Over the time. No.
But so they get to this woman's house to ask her about Liberty, and she shares this story with them. And I thought that, like, I don't know what I didn't expect that to be the story. And so that was shocking to kind of hear, like, this poor, because she was 11 years old at the time, and she witnessed her brother get murdered by Liberty, and Liberty to be extremely racist because her, like, this woman and her brother are Black. And again, they're like, why every show right now feels like that this is a thing that's happening in it. And it's, I don't know, like every time I have such a visceral reaction to it, obviously. And it's just, we're seeing it so much. Like it makes me think like Umbrella Academy. We're seeing it in Lovecraft Country. We're seeing it here. Like how many times have we seen it and it's not been so stand out, because it's also not in our real life media all the time. Like just like the police brutality thing. Anyways, that's my whole like side story. It was shocking, and also it was very gory because you see the shot of his face.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that was bad.
Oh my God, he was mangled. It was like, I was not prepared for the level of violence, even though it was obviously a very violent story. Yeah. What did you guys think about that?
Well, pretty much.
And like the revelation behind it, obviously.
Pretty much I'm agreeing with what you said. And then especially it really pissed me off that you see the like the face of her brother, and then you see the dollar amount that caused them, like that, for them to shut up was just $2,000 for that dude's face to get like that I was like, oh man, that pissed me off. That's all I can add to it. It was just like, ugh.
And not to mention there's also the revelation that it is apparently Stormfront. The lady said that she's on TV. She's part of the Seven. Liberty is Stormfront. I'm not sure. I'm gonna throw out my my prediction here. I'm gonna say Stormfront is Liberty's daughter. You have heritage heroes going on now. That's what I think.
Yeah, because I think you're right, because if they would have shown the face, like if it were the same person, but the fact that they didn't actually, they're going to be related somehow, but the fact that they didn't see the face and there's just the hood leaves me to believe that they just could be related and it's not actually Stormfront.
So I'd actually kind of spoiled this revelation for myself on IMDb or Wikipedia, because I was looking up the actress's name of Stormfront and it credited her as Liberty as well. And this was before this episode aired.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the posters and previous things we've seen of Liberty in the show, this actress plays Liberty, and so they'd credited her as like poster of Liberty or like photo of Liberty or something like that. So I kind of already knew that was the revelation. So I'm curious, because they're using the same actress, like why the choice was not to show her.
Yeah.
Because they could have like had this woman's story, and then when she's like, oh, it's this person, we could have flashed back to that story and seen the face, but they didn't do that, even though I know they're using the same actress. So I'm curious, like what the why behind that. So I do agree. I think it could be like a family related thing, or like a weird clone situation. I feel like it's just not the actual same person, but is also the same person at the same time. That's my opinion.
Compound V just, helps with the aging process. It gets me thinking about like the future and how I'm pretty sure they're not gonna age Jensen Ackles. He's the original superhero in this world.
Yeah,
but I'm
Soldier
pretty
Boy.
sure he's gonna be like just a Captain America type where he's gonna kind of look the same age. So it may be just Compound V.
Well, do we know at this point how long Compound V has been around? because like that could just be the case where they hit an age and they stop aging, and usually like those heroes kind of phase out at that point, go live their life somewhere, and kind of like go into anonymity. So we don't know that they're not aging because we don't really see them in the spotlight. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like Compound V has been a thing for forever. It seems pretty relatively recent because they're still working through it. Like, I don't know. I think that could be really interesting to see the old heroes coming back, having not aged, and be like, this is a thing that's going to happen to everybody. And then see the current heroes have to kind of deal with that. Because that could be like, I mean, this is done, I feel like, in any type of supernatural dating a normal human type of scenario where it's like, oh, you're an elf and I'm going to age me an old lady, or you're a vampire. But I feel like they could do that as like an extra piece of Starlight and Huey's relationship, if that is actually the case, where she won't age, he will age. They're gonna have to like deal with the consequences of what that would look like. Maybe that's like way down the line prediction, but who knows?
Long term.
Yeah, that's like season 7.
Yeah, because as far as I know, I think Compound V, from the story that Giancarlo Esposito was saying, started around the war, right? Like maybe World War II. But who knows? They could have had earlier versions of it before that.
Sure.
I think the company, it's named after the scientist that invented the Compound V. Vought
Yeah,
is the name of the scientist. I believe like he came from like out of World War II, and he developed it. I don't know what year, but like definitely after World War II. So yeah, there should be some older superheroes out there. They aged. Who knows?
Yeah. Could be very slowly.
Yeah.
So moving on from kind of the road trip, we have just everything happening with Homelander.
our favorite superhero.
The best.
Yes.
Not the one that hurts our souls or makes us cringe and uncomfy in any way. So when we saw the first original scene of him walking into like the little cottage and Stillwell being there, I was convinced he'd saved her. Like, I was convinced that, oh my God, she's not dead. This is like insane. She's gonna be pulling the strings, this and that. And then obviously we see like as the scene progresses, it's within like a couple seconds, I was like, hey, this can't be right, because it's like super weird and super gross with the whole like, there's more milk with the fingers in the milk and like touch like yeah, like I was like, hey, no, like she was weird with him, but like not to that degree of like really gross. But I could not figure out like what was going on. And then when we saw the reveal of Doppelganger, I was shook. Like that did not even cross my mind, even though we'd seen that hero, we'd seen them do a very similar thing previously. Yeah. Thoughts?
I thought of so many things when the scene first happened. I'm like, is this a dream? No. Is she alive? No. We saw her die like pretty brutally. And then like once the scene was over, it was established it wasn't a dream. And then they came back to it to continue. And I'm like, wait, that is either like a mental projection or a shapeshifter. And I'm like, if it's a shapeshifter, I gotta see what the original form is. And I was not disappointed by that original form.
Well, we've seen this original form before, right? Because back in season 1, there was the congressman who didn't want to sign the bill of like having the Supes be part of the army.
That's right.
That's my phone ringing. Don't mind me. We'd seen Doppelganger in the first season with the congressman, where he was having sex with this bartender woman and then turned into this man, which was the original form of Doppelganger. And it was like, you know, an alarming looking person to be having sex with if you thought you were having sex with a female, beautiful woman. So when the shifting started to happen, I knew it was going to be that shape again, which was very alarming, especially in like the little sexy outfit, because the outfit is like not part, like it's not like a Mystique thing where you can like she changed the outfit sometimes with like the transformation. Right. The outfit goes on the shapeshifter and stays on the shapeshifter, which comes into play later.
Yeah. Yes, it certainly does. Lou, how did you enjoy it?
Basically the same reactions that you had. When the scene was happening, I'm like, what's going on? She's here. It can't be real.
Yeah.
There were so many scenarios playing in my head. And then finally, well, they were still pretty disgusting, but finally when Doppelganger showed up and he's like, I can't really keep this form, and he's just like, change back, change back, change back, and I'm like, this is so nasty. I'm like, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. And then he changes back to Madeline, and then he goes back to like just laying on her lap, and I'm like, oh, Homelander, man. You are one disturbed individual, which kind of shows you his psyche, his despite being this hero that the Superman, right, where everybody loves him, he's just a lonely, horny man, and he's seeking someone's affection.
Yeah.
Real mommy issues. Have they revealed, like, I'm not sure, I don't even know from the comics, but like, have they revealed if like he was raised in a lab? No, they said he was raised like in a home, like all American boy, right?
Yeah, he was like learning baseball or something. No, there was a. I feel like that was a fake story they had.
Yeah, there was
and he actually was raised in a lab.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's what it was.
So it hasn't really like the baby Homelander yet was in a lab, but nothing else was revealed because I think the whole house thing, baseball thing, was all made up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was all staged for what they were shooting in that first season.
Sure.
Yeah, I find it, I mean, the scene was both times he went to visit Doppelganger were very unsettling, but I thought, kind of to what Lou had said, it was a clear, like, look into what was going on with Homelander, particularly, I find, with the second visit, and I thought it was really interesting. So when he came back to visit Doppelganger, he first presented as Stillwell, and then when that wasn't really working, presented as Homelander. So there's some level of like, I don't know if Doppelganger has a power to like understand people really well, but there was some like level of understanding that like Doppelganger thought that would be the choice. Like, of all the people you could have become, I'm going to become you and I'm going to suck your D. Like, and that...
It almost worked.
It almost worked.
Man,
Homelander was
on the edge of my seat.
considering it. Like, it's not gay if it's with yourself, right? Like, as he's going down. I was just, oh. Yeah. And he kind of, like, the way he was reassuring himself, like, the way Doppelganger Homelander was reassuring regular Homelander, like, oh, you're a special boy. Everyone loves you, this and that. Like, he knew what he wanted to hear. But Homelander, having had that conversation with Stormfront, is kind of like, I think he's playing with the idea of like, I don't need to be loved, I need to be feared, or I need, like, he's trying to figure out what he actually needs in order to like regain his power. And I think Doppelganger hadn't quite clued into that yet, and that's kind of what resulted in like the snapping of the neck and all of the situation.
Yeah, that conversation between the two of them, Stormfront really knows what she's doing. She to kind of compare her to someone in like pop culture or like in the real world setting, kind of like Winona Ryder, where like she's really appealing to like this left wing base, but not really, you know, authentic in those sentiments. Not all the way, but like it's gaining her traction. It's sort of the same thing Stormfront's doing. You rallying people with not authentic like appeals, but it'll rally folks right behind you.
Mm-hmm. She's like appealing to their emotions more than like their logic, right?
She's
emotion, like, you don't need like 5 million people to like you. You need like however many people to be freaking pissed, which is so true, so true. And we've seen that play out like in real life for sure. And the thing about the memes I thought was 10 out of 10. Yeah. Because absolutely that would be the case. Like, if you're like today's day and age, you got to have like meme makers. Like, that's how you get your face out there. And I just like the scene of Homelander looking at all the memes made me cackle. Like, I had to go back and pause it so I could see each one, because some of them were so freaking funny. And I was like, just, oh, who came up with those? Like, it felt like the real internet would have made those memes. That was great. Predictions, now that we have more information, do we have any, like, besides what we've already said, any new predictions?
Well, I can say a prediction that already came true from Alex, actually. That was actually in a trailer that we probably didn't just notice. You know how, Alex, you said that eventually you think that Queen Maeve and Stormfront were going to come to blows?
Yeah,
they did. There's a
1
second clip in the trailer that you see Queen Maeve punching Stormfront.
Hey,
If you look at the trailer, it's really quick, just like boom. And I paused it to make sure, and it was Stormfront.
gotcha. That's a good one.
And you include it in the video?
Huh?
Yeah,
I'm gonna add it to the video. Yeah.
Include the video.
I'm gonna add it to the video.
Yeah, awesome.
Actually, if
Awesome.
we're saying predictions that kind of came true, I'm gonna like give myself half credit for A-Train being kicked out of the 7 because I knew something was gonna happen to him. I knew that was gonna happen in some capacity. I was wrong about how, but I'm gonna give myself half a point.
And then this,
no, fair enough.
This way, the chances of I can't remember who predicted it that A-Train may join the boys. I can't remember who it was. It was Germ or Alex.
I think it was Germ, but it was more of like I think we collectively agreed that it might have been A-Train and the Deep joining the boys. That was agreed upon.
All right.
And the Deep finding a wife, random. That was so random.
Very.
Yeah. That felt weird to have like those little segments throughout. It was like cool. Like I was like, okay, what is this? Like what is like I was watching it with my boyfriend and his brother, and the two of them, anytime like a woman came on being like, I think this they were like, what show is this? What's happening? Like they kept getting so confused. And I was like, I'd already seen the episodes. I was like, trust me, it makes sense eventually. But I felt like the payoff for those random clips wasn't quite there. It didn't like, I was like, I guess, okay, he's looking for a wife, but I wish there had been a little bit more as to like what's going on there if we're going to include clips throughout.
I'm also now excited to see, actually, since we brought that up, where this Church of the Collective, they're called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To see what how they manipulate. It seems like they manipulate people, so they're a cult, basically, and you're gonna see what they're gonna do with the Deep's head by giving him a wife, trying to give him back to the 7. So there's probably something deeper than just that because they keep showing it randomly. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended when you said something deeper.
I like had to hold it. I was like, good one. Good one.
Yeah, it seems like that subplot is going somewhere, and I assume the implications of it are going to be pretty heavy once it's all revealed.
I'd like the whole Maeve being outed on TV thing, which was stressful to watch.
That was brutal.
And like, I'm curious to see what happens from that and like what the fallout is. Because as of right now, we haven't really seen any impact from that happening. Like no one else has referenced it. It's just between Maeve and Homelander, really, like the conflict around that. And so far as we know, her girlfriend is safe, but we haven't seen her confirm that yet. So unclear if she actually is or if she's already dead.
Did they show her out of the hospital, or she was still in the hospital last time we saw her? She was still in the hospital, right?
Yeah. And the last time we heard from her, she was on the phone.
Yeah, okay.
With Maeve. So we haven't actually seen her in a little bit.
And I want to see Kimiko get her shot at Stormfront.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was there and she was ready.
Yeah.
But you know what? From just kind of that perspective, weirdly enough, her face seems like clearer, like her mind seems to have like a single focus now. Because usually when you see Kimiko, it's always like her hair is covered, it's dirt, but in that scene, you can kind of see like her face is brighter. I don't know if anybody noticed that. Her face is brighter, it was cleaner. Sure. It's like she was more focused, I think. So that's another thing.
I think this has given her like a direction, whereas before she felt very lost, very directionless, and now she's like, this is my thing now. This is kind of the Butcher mentality of like, this is my one thing and I'm just gonna go do the thing. Okay, well that was episode 4 of The Boys. I'm Michelle. I've been joined by Lou and Alex. Make sure you check us out at all of our social medias. Also, we have a podcast where we will have some special exclusive to the podcast stuff. So if you're interested in hearing us talk about other shows, particularly Lovecraft Country, it'll be on there. Wait. So yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye.